Well, hi, Jen. It's nice to see you.
Ah, great to see you.
You know who I am, Dr. Alapin. I'm not a medical doctor or a mental health care practitioner. I wanted to have you on today because you've been, well, actually, I put up a post in my Facebook group saying, would anybody like to talk about their experience in training? And
Mhm.
you said yes. So, I mean, just
Yes.
start by saying, like, what do you want to say about it? And then I'll ask you some more specific questions. But, like, why did you volunteer?
Um, Gosh, I've got a lot to say about it.
Go for it.
It's like my head is ready to
You
explode
can
with
save me the
everything.
questions. You can just say,
But um, I was trained in rapid transformation therapy, and I did get good results from it. And while I think it's really transformative, it wasn't until I met ACH that I was just absolutely blown away by it.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is so much more than a therapy. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
lifestyle. It's just,
Yeah.
and
I love
you,
that.
the
It's a
way you
lifestyle.
teach it and the way you embody it
Oh,
is
thank
is really, really special. You don't get that. Like, you don't get that whole picture experience of the person that is so gifted at teaching it and also embodying it. And you are so intuitive too, that I mean, it's just, I just feel like I've told you a million times, I feel super blessed
but
that
it's still
I was
nice to hear.
guided to you.
Oh, it's so cool to hear. I'm so flattered.
Yeah. So that's my initial kind of take on it.
How do you find it easier than RTT? Like, what's the significant difference?
Um, Well, obviously, it's not scripted, and you're
Yeah.
not making the recording and then getting three-quarters of the way through the recording, and then your dog starts barking, and then you're like, to start all over
Start
again.
all over, right? And you don't have to write the script to
Yeah.
record.
But what I find that I love about it so much is it's so client driven.
Yes.
We are not taking them anywhere they don't want to go. They take us wherever they want to go. I love how intuitive
And
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 free
why
it
is that
is.
important? Why do you think that's important that we not drive it, that they drive it? How does that change your experience from your perspective?
Well, when I was doing RTT, I was finding it to be very heavy.
Yeah.
I would have clients tell me that they would have an emotional hangover.
Yeah.
Um, and so that always kind of made me feel a little, I don't know the right way to describe it, but a little apprehensive about
And
the whole
it's I think the word I was hearing in my head is it's invasive. It's a little bit too invasive.
invasive. Yeah, it is. It's because a lot of people aren't ready for that.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
when you're
They're not
doing,
expecting it.
yeah, when you're doing traditional or RTT, you are
Mhm.
intentionally dragging them back to those moments. And while, yes, they do need to go there at some point and dig through that, not everybody's ready for it. And
Dragging is the exact right word, and that's where the
yeah,
problem is. It's not the problem of being there, it's the problem of dragging or forcing or taking.
yes,
That's where it doesn't work.
that's where it doesn't work.
I
And
agree. And
this
that's
is,
what and that costs us too, because then we feel like, oh, I created something negative instead of positive.
yes, yeah, I have gone through that with
Yeah.
with RTT, with that method. I've gone through that.
I mean, that's why I love ACH personally,
Yeah.
because I'm not liable for where the mind goes. And I don't
No,
want to be, and I don't want to be.
mm-mm, mm-mm. It just naturally goes there. It's just so beautiful. And it's
Yeah.
so subtle, and it's just,
Yep.
yeah.
Simple, subtle.
Yeah. And very intuitive.
Yes.
And
Do you
I
find
find
it
it to
easy?
be very nurturing as well.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Do you find it easy? Like, do you find it easy to do now that you've learned it? I mean, you came to my weekend. That was that. It's not that much time. Can you pull it off?
Yeah. I do, I do. There's more that I could be doing, like memorizing the questions and that sort
Yeah.
of thing, but also have found the more I'm doing it, the more natural it is becoming. And it's not even so much going off the questions list. It's
You don't need to memorize
yeah,
anything.
it kind of it's just whatever comes up intuitively, and then taking what they're saying and working with it, and just really, amplifying or magnifying what they're saying, and then bringing them around to a more flexible
Right.
way of thinking, and just getting them out of that rigid space that they're in. That in itself is worth $1 million.
Why?
Seen it in myself, like
Yeah.
it just always surprises me when I get sessions on myself because you're kind of like,
Yeah.
what in the hell? How in the world was I thinking that? Like, a lot of what we're thinking doesn't even make logical sense.
That's right. It's true, right.
Yeah.
And so how does ECH help you with that?
Well, it helps. I think, when you have somebody kind of giving you that conflicting
Right.
opinion of what you have in your head, it opens it up to be like, whoa,
Yeah.
yeah, wait, you're right. Why can't I? Or why isn't this? Or
Hmm.
so it just really opens things up.
And how does it change you in a business sense? I mean, like, so you had RTT before, which required you to write scripts and make recordings. How does this change your daily practice, your income?
Um,
Is it easier?
well, obviously you're not putting as much time and prep into it. And Tiani and I
Huge.
were talking about the fact that like we both felt so uncomfortable because and you've said this before too, you're reading from a script. I mean,
Yeah.
basically.
Right. No, you are.
So you're not doing that at all. You are using your own intuition and your own, like you really are like a subconscious whisperer. I
That's
know when
why.
I'm doing a session,
Yeah,
and I am equally under the trance as they are. So
definitely.
yeah, yeah. And so it's just really cool how your subconscious kind of talks to each other. And it's so natural and
And isn't it true that it's hard to talk to someone's subconscious when you're supposed to be reading a paper?
you
I mean,
can't.
it's
There's
almost
no
bizarre.
way.
It's kind of like when you really stop to think about it, like that doesn't work. That
No.
couldn't
Mm-mm.
work. It just
Mm-mm.
can't. Like the very premise of it is like bizarre.
Yeah, it's not natural. It's
Right.
all scripted.
And
Hmm.
so, do you feel now without a script that you don't know what to say at any point?
No, not at all. Not at
Right.
all. I love it. It's like
You're actually doing
you're
hypnosis.
hanging on you're hanging
Yeah,
on
you're right.
every word and guiding them,
Wouldn't you,
working with
wouldn't
them.
you agree that that's really the hypnotic experience
It
instead of
is.
like pretend
Oh yeah,
formulated one?
100%. It's so, so
Don't you feel
powerful.
more like a hypnotist now?
I do. I
Isn't
do.
that the cool? I love that piece of it where it's like, oh, now I'm really doing it. Like that's what
Yeah, yeah. And just,
I do.
so many of the tools too, like the metaphorical stuff, or what I've had a lot of success with is, they'll come up with some kind of sign or symbol or something
Yeah,
that means
right,
something to them. And then you just take it and you
right.
amplify it and you bring it up through the session. And then they
Yeah,
walk away having that as kind of being their guiding light, I guess.
yeah. And where did it
So,
come
like,
from?
yeah, I had somebody describe what they were seeing as like a kaleidoscope.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, well, now I'm going to have to go buy a kaleidoscope because she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to keep like that energy alive, but she saw
Yeah,
the energy as a kaleidoscope.
totally.
So she went out and bought a kaleidoscope. And when she
And
needs to
what would
get
have
an
happened?
energy,
That's
she gets it out. Yeah.
what would have happened if you had told her, "Hey, your life is like a kaleidoscope,"
Oh,
instead of
she would have, yeah, I would have blocked, she would have blocked it. She'd probably
she
been
would have
like,
been like,
oh,
"What are you
that's
talking?"
crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
it strange how if it comes from the other side, it's total, and if it comes from you, it's almost worthless?
Yeah. But it makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense, right?
Mhm.
It makes it obvious to me that this is the only way to investigate.
Yeah, it really is. It
How
truly
did you
is.
find the actual training experience?
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's very so fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't there really aren't a lot of words to describe. It's
But
just you have to see it in
it's
action.
that good. It's that good.
Yeah, I mean, really have to see it in action. And that's when I was really blown away by it. Is just seeing, the
I know.
breakthroughs and seeing the results people get, and doing the demos that you do in the training. You can,
Isn't
and
it?
you explain it really, really well, but it's when you get into the demos and you are explaining certain aspects of it and you see
It's live.
the results in the clients' faces or in their, and it's amazing.
Isn't it cool too that, I mean, I'm talking about how cool I am, so it kind of feels funny, but isn't it cool to have a training where instead of learning the theory and how to do it, we just do it flat
Yeah.
out so
Yeah.
that it proves to you that it really does happen in the moment. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I really think that that's
I
what's
don't think
unique
there's
about
any
what
other way to learn this,
I
in all
agree.
honesty. Because you could talk about it, talk about it, talk about
Yep,
it, but like until you actually see it,
yep.
yeah.
Do you think it's weird that we do it with people who are untrained and it still works?
No, I think it speaks of volumes of the
Isn't it?
effectiveness of it. Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah. It
I mean,
works. And
as the trainer, that's what I love about it. Like we're picking a random, or they're volunteering, a
yeah.
client and a, volunteer therapist, and they're just listening to the instructions that I'm giving live, and they're doing their own hypnosis session, and it's working.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
It is. It's beautiful. It's a
I
beautiful
know.
thing.
I love it too. Oh, thanks for coming to it. What do you want people to know about why they need to learn this method, or what would it help them in their own businesses? Because I know you do other things too. You do health coaching and
Yeah.
nutrition. So, for people who are in this industry, coaches, NLP, why do you think this would help them?
I initially I fell in love with it because it's a life, it really is a lifestyle. It
Yep.
works with in any relationship. It
Yep.
enhances your communication skills. It, enhances you as a person. And it really just helps you look further. I don't know the exact words, but like it just helps you on a deeper level and understand people on a deeper level, just in
Mhm.
life in general. And you know what? The world needs more of that. The world needs more of, people that are listening intently and caring and nurturing and that kind
Yeah,
of
and
thing.
accurately reading each other,
Yes.
or at least making the attempt to do so.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it worth its weight in gold now? Like, how many conversations do you get into?
Totally.
Nobody's listening to each other anymore.
I know.
So
I
when you
hon-
finally have somebody actually actively listening and guiding you and feeding you, and it's pretty cool.
I do think that when people purchase this product or come to me for sessions, they leave thinking like that was one of the most exceptional conversations of my
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
because of that element you just said. Like, not
Yeah.
only listening, but like listening to a level of you that has
Yeah.
never been listened to before, and that
Right.
you've been carrying with you all your life and you'll always
Yeah.
carry with you, and it never
Yeah.
gets to talk to anybody.
No.
It's so weird.
No. And the thing is too, is like when you go to regular therapy,
I know. They
it's
don't
not
do
the
that.
same because
I
you're
know.
getting, it's like,
It's not the same at all.
no, with what we do, it's just, you're right. You're talking to the client on a level that they've never been spoken to, and they're completely accepted in a completely safe space,
Yep.
completely nurturing. It's like and I have said this several times. I believe that working with one of us is like one of the best gifts you could ever give yourself. It is one of the most loving things that you can do for yourself.
And why? Tell the people who are watching, why do you I agree with you.
Yeah.
Is it
Well, I
just
think
yeah,
because of what we just said,
yeah.
you don't, we go through life at such a fast pace, and
Mhm.
like I said, we don't listen to each other. We don't take the time to really deeply connect to ourselves and deeply connect to each other.
Mhm.
And this is a really amazing opportunity to go kind of next level with that,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Do you think too that this is a very interesting philosophical conversation we're having about what it is?
I know.
Do you think it's interesting too that once it's almost like, when you've taken acid or something and you do it once, but you don't need to keep doing it 100 times to keep getting the initial
Yeah.
experience, like has impact. And then you can revisit that impact,
Yeah.
and it grows with you over
It
time
does.
and it changes.
It
And
does.
so I think people sometimes think, oh, it's just the session or just the quitting or whatever it is that I'm doing, but it's really not. It's
Mm-mm.
like this
Mm-hmm.
foray into a part of you that
Mm-hmm.
keeps telling you something way beyond the work
Mm-hmm.
you do with either of us or anyone
Mm-hmm.
in our
Yeah.
any doing with people.
It's a shift. I mean, it's an absolute shift
It
in
is.
every way. And, yeah, in every way possible.
Okay, so the way I teach the training is first I give you the skill, first we practice the skill, and then I talk about the business piece of it. Did that help you? How did that go for you? Because I don't think it's a product like every other product, so we have to talk about, how to
How to
handle it.
market it and business. Yeah, no, yes, I think the way you handle it is perfect. Yeah, the business training does definitely need to happen.
Yeah.
It's interesting that probably is one of the most important pieces of the training because that's where
Easily.
everybody gets stuck.
Hmm.
It's the business part. It's
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is the confidence
Hmm.
and then the how do you market and the sales part of it. And I've loved your approach. Doing health coaching, I knew how to do discovery calls, but MACH has completely changed the game for
Right.
me. And like, you know how people dread discovery calls and the sales
Yeah.
calls? I love them.
Yeah, me too. I love
I
it.
love them because I see how beautiful it is. And I love
Totally.
bringing them to that place where they can imagine what their future looks like. And
Yeah.
I get so excited to see them,
Well, and
get there.
it's that first touch into the subconscious
Yeah.
relationship. So I love that too. Like, oh, what's going on
Yeah.
in here? Like
Yeah.
just
And I'm like,
find a
yeah.
little entryway.
And I'm like not even the least bit concerned, like if they don't, if they don't want to sign on or whatever, because I know the
Right.
gold that I'm holding and for them
Totally.
and how much, how
Love
much I
that.
can help them. So
Yes. Ooh, I'm loving that. Let's have more
yeah,
of that. That's
yeah,
great. Well, we
yeah.
are going to train more in business here this coming year, so we'll keep on amplifying that piece of it.
Yeah, I think that would be a really great thing. Maybe we can do some kind of like confidence building or I don't know.
Of
Yeah,
course we can. We can
yeah,
do that and many,
yeah.
many other things.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add about, learning conversational hypnosis? Oh, let me ask you this before I let you go. What do you think the level two added in terms of, your skill set or your business? How did that amplify it from level one? Because you did both.
It's
You've
a
done
game
both.
changer.
It is, right?
Yeah, well, ACH is a game changer and then
And
MACH is a game
I
changer.
know.
Um, yeah, it is hard to find the words.
It
I
is.
love it because it is so motivational. It's like it's such a beautiful piece for the client
Yeah.
because you're not just untying, you're giving them a vision of what they want in the future. And
Yeah.
you really, and you just work with them intuitively and
Mhm.
I don't know, it's fun that's the really fun part for me to see is because
I-
that is like them going into next level of where they want to be and them
It's true.
getting a glimpse of that and seeing that and creating that.
Yep.
So
It needs to be scaffolded, first problem solving,
yeah,
then
yeah.
but they mix together
And then they
eventually.
layer, yeah, and layering that in there too, to where and MACH is brilliant in the fact that when you do run into issues of
Yeah.
like a set belief or whatever, you can kind of
Yeah.
come in there and work it down.
It's pretty cool, right? You become a little bit of a wizard in
You do.
different ways of untying and undoing and everything
Mm-hmm.
that's possible.
Well,
Isn't it
making
true?
them feel really comfortable in the process.
Isn't it interesting too how it's like a small skill set that has infinite uses? Like that's one thing I love about it. It's like learning this actual thing. It's not tons of things or tons of
It's
theory.
not.
It's a simple set of principles, but they go to millions of places, anywhere you want to go.
And what's so cool about that too is everybody has their own unique
Yep,
spin.
I
We've got
totally.
the same toolbox,
Yep,
but everybody has their own unique
I
spin.
know.
And so what's cool about that is like your ideal client is going to come to you
I
because
agree.
you're you and
I
you've got
totally
your
agree.
yeah.
And they're going to need whatever
Yeah.
your experience is. I know, and that's why there's no limit to who can do this because there's somebody who needs to talk to
Yeah.
anybody who wants to
There
experience.
is with their own unique set of experiences, like you said.
I know. I think sometimes people worry that like, oh, well, why would they choose me or whatever? But that's why.
That's why. Yeah.
That's
It's who you gravitate towards.
why. I know. And there's something historical about it too, and karmic and energetic.
There is. There
Anything else?
is. It's like I almost get goosebumps when you
Me
said that
too.
because like it is. It's very next. I keep saying next level, but that's is very next level. It's very
Yeah.
quantum.
It is very, and I have to admit to you too, and I think it's fun for people to know, I feel that. Like, I
Yeah.
know I'm good at it, and I know I'm good at teaching it, and I know it's great results, but I look at it too and think like, wow, that's really like we're here at the next level. Like here we are at the edge of consciousness, and there is a way to move through. Like I
You know,
myself am stunned.
I know it's almost like ESP. Like, is that
Yeah,
where we're headed? Is that
yeah.
where we're headed as a
Well,
civilization where we can just start reading each other's
but
mind?
let I'm gonna end on this because I think this is actually fascinating, and this will be one of my
We
favorite
could go on
interviews
forever.
I know, but I mean, this is like an interview that went beyond just a testimonial, so we might as well go there. The subconscious is way older than language. It's
Yeah,
thousands of years old. Language is just like a recent development. So when you say like ESP is the future, I was thinking, no, it's just the language that we've all known for our whole lives. It's
just haven't known
genetic.
how to use it.
Yeah, we just don't access it. So it's like
Yeah,
so obvious to me
yeah,
that that is the key to our potential because it's what we are made of. It's what we know.
yeah,
It's intrinsic to us. So
yeah,
like, is that ESP? I don't think so. I think that's just the truth of who we are.
yeah.
And now we're
No, I agree.
remembering.
I agree.
Now we're
And we're
remembering we have
just relearning.
that
Yeah,
we have access to
that we
a
have.
part of us that knows.
Yeah.
Isn't it strange that we forgot that for a while?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It is strange, but then not so strange. And then
Not so strange.
we could go on off
We
on that.
could. And not everyone has remembered. So to anyone who wants to remember, we're inviting you to our training, to our session. Thank you so much for spending this time with me,
Yeah.
and I'll be seeing you
I
back.
thoroughly love having conversations with you.
Thank you. So grateful for you. Well, I'll see you back in our training group, and thanks to everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye, Jen.
Bye.